Hey everybody, welcome to Unit 9, Data and Statistics. We're looking at lesson number 1, which is talking about data gathering. It's kind of a misleading title because we're not really going to be gathering any data here. I'm not teaching you how to do that. I'm going to be teaching you really some stuff that you've probably learned before. We're going to get to that later, measure central tendencies. But there's some other stuff that I'll be showing you too. But this is some of the more basic stuff that you need to know in order to get really your data working for you. So I guess, I don't know, they titled it data gathering because you're gathering the important information about it, I guess. I don't know. Anyways, I'm going to try to keep this short too if I can because there's a lot of writing going on, but this is not going to be the shortest of lessons, so I'm going to do the best I can. All right, mister, stop chatting then. Let's go right to it. So we've got a couple of definitions here. Copy them down and then resume when you're ready to go over these. You've got population, some or all individuals in a study or survey, and a parameter, which would be the numbers that summarize a characteristic of the population. So when we're talking about these two things together, we're talking about like the larger or the whole group. Your population would be everybody, and your parameters would be the numbers talking about everybody, versus a sample, which is a part or a group from the population, and the statistic, which are numbers that summarize characteristics of a sample. So you could be talking about smaller groups, like maybe you're talking about women as a group of a total population. Maybe you're talking about Asian Americans as a population of a total group. So those are different ways that you could possibly thinking about um, groupings. All right, so you have samples and statistics. Those are the smaller or part versus the larger and the whole. Okay, so we're going to go more towards some of the more mathematical type of stuff. You're going to definitely need a calculator for this. Desmos is great. I think the school calculators work really well for this too. I'm not going to be showing you any of the tricks. I'm going to be showing you straight up how to do this stuff old-fashioned by hand. Yeah, there's ways that you can do the TI instruments, and I'm sure that there's stuff on Desmos, or you could download an app. That's not what we're doing here, though. I'm going to be showing you how to do this stuff, again, by hand. Later, in another lesson, I will show you how to do some stuff on Excel, and in that lesson, too, I will be showing you how to use a calculator. Those are all in class, though, so you've got to be in class live to see those. Anyways, I gave you some time, and if you still need a pause to write this, these are the measures of central tendency, also known as averages. You've seen these before. You have the mean, which is the sum of the data divided by the sample size. Right? So you add all the numbers together and you divide it by however many numbers you had. I call those elements. This is the one that most people refer to when they say the average, right? When I talk about the average score we had in class on a quiz, I'm using the mean average. Okay, but there's two other averages we keep talking about. The median, which would be the middlemost number of a sample when in order, or the sum of the divided by 2 of the two middle numbers. So if you have an odd number, you'll actually have one number that's directly in the middle. If you have an even number of elements, then you're going to have two numbers in the direct middle, so we would have to add those two and divide by 2, right? The mean, median. And then finally, the mode, the value that shows up the most frequently. Mode means most frequent. So there's some things here, right? You could have multiple values that can be the mode. So if you have a number showing up 3 times and another number also shows up 3 times and everything else is less than that. But then you also have no mode when every number shows up exactly once each. Now, I have no clue how this really works, but I would imagine that if you had every number show up exactly twice, then you could maybe argue that there's no mode there too. I'd have to look a little more into that. Maybe somebody out there watching these videos knows the answer and wants to throw it up there for me. That's great, but I'll look into it. I'm sure I got my stats book up here somewhere. I'll find the answer to that. Anyways, so we're going to look at an example. Here's some exam scores from a previous unit, and they're going to ask us to find mean, median, and mode scores here. So go ahead and copy that, and then we're going to go out and do some of these problems. All right, so if we're calculating the mean, median, and mode, I'm not going to write every single number down here. We're going to type them in, but we're going to be finding the sum. And we're going to divide it by the total number. The total number here, we got 3 by 6, so there's 18 total numbers here. All right, so we're going to add these all up. 87 plus 87 plus 83 plus 96 plus 93 plus 75. And I added all those up real quick. If you heard me typing away, we got 1,561 out of 18. And we get 86.72. I'm going to say let's round to 1/10 here. So we'll just do 86.7. That's the mean average. That's one that you guys are used to doing. That's what you would see if these were actual test scores. This is what you would see on the board. I might even round this up to an 87. These next two, it might be in our best interest to actually write these out. Now this is where this becomes a pain because you just wrote these. Believe me, I know. I wrote these out too a few minutes ago. Right, but what we're going to do is have to put these in order. So we have to look for the lowest value first. Our lowest value, I believe, is right here as this 57. And then strike them off as you go. So if you want to skip forward until you see all these numbers written out, you can. I'm going to take the time to write them all down right now. It's going to take me a second. If you are still listening, then you'll notice that I have a method of doing this. Right, I'm looking for anything that's a 60 next. Now I'm going to go through my 70s. I have a 78 and a 75. So 75, 78. 79, almost missed. Let's see, 80s. I got a bunch of 80s. 83, 81. So 81's next. 83. I got two 87s and 84. Ooh. Oh, let's get the 86 in there. Two 87s. I think that's it for 80s, 90s. I got 290. I got a 91 first though. 93. Another 93. Another 93. Others jumping out. Nope. 96. 97. 100 and 101. All right, so yeah, we just have to write those down again, but not a big deal. So now that the median, what we're going to do here is count all these numbers. There's 18 of them. So the middle two numbers would be 9 from each side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And from this side, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So our median falls right in between those two numbers. Now this one's kind of easy. If I add those and then divide by 2, I'm going to get 87. If they were not the same number, then you would add them, divide by 2, and you'd get a different number in that situation. Mode. Mode means most, so we just got to go through and figure out which one shows up the most. Now that they're in order, it's easier to see, right? These only show up one time each. Till I get to here, there's 2. But the 93s have the most occurrences. There's 3 of them. So there's your median and your mode. Again, you've probably seen that. But even if you go to the college course, they're going to still show you this stuff again. So why not see it again here? So here's one for you to try. Fewer numbers, calculate the mean, median, and mode. Pause and resume when you're ready to check. All right, so let's see. We have a total of, let's see, 10. We need to find the sum here. So again, just typing away, get those numbers added up. Sum of 335 divided by 10, 33.5. So this is your mean average. Now we got to list these in order. So unfortunately, got to do this again. 26, 29, 30, 30, 30, 31, 34, 35, 42, 48. All right, so we've got all 10, so halfway through would be 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So here's a good situation for the median, where we get two different numbers. So we add up the 2, and then divide by 2, gives us 30.5. You could have probably done that in your head, halfway between those would be 30.5. That's fine too. And then mode. Which one shows up the most? They're in order, so it's nice and easy to see that 30 shows up the most. So when referring to the number of seconds spent tying your shoes, that information that we gather, you could say the average time is 30, because that's kind of true. Most people had 30 seconds. You could say that the middle number amount of time was 30.5. That's also true. And 33.5 would be the average that we talk about as far as like the mean average, the usual standard one. All right. Now we're going to talk about some stuff over here. Self-selected and different methods of gathering data and samples. So pause the video and copy those down real quick. So here are the different types. You have self-selected, which would be volunteers contribute to a sample. That could be really good in such situations, or that could be really bad in some situations, depending on what it is that you're doing surveys on and how willing people would be to participate. Some could be not willing at all, and some could be over willing, and some people could be a completely random selection. So self-selected, not necessarily the best. Convenience would be easy to obtain, oftentimes grouped. Maybe you're out someplace and you just go to like a one room in a building and just work with those people. That's convenient. Systematic, follow some sort of pattern. Maybe you're looking at every fifth person that walks through a door. Right, that's following a pattern. And then finally, random would be randomly generated. That would be purely random. Maybe you have everybody's name in a bin and you pull them out and then survey those people. Or like telephone random surveys. Those are very random. They just type in everybody in the world's phone number and start calling them. Anyways, you've got two different things that could happen, which we started talking about up here with the self-selected. Right? You have representative sample, which would be purely random, non-biased sample, and then you have biased, right? Which means often not random, and the statistics can alter conclusions of a study. So if people were really willing to go up and talk about something, that could throw it off. Or maybe if somebody doesn't like something, like for example, maybe we're talking about how much bacon somebody eats, and then a vegetarian comes up and starts saying that they, don't eat any bacon at all. That's kind of biased, because why are you participating in how much bacon you eat if you're vegetarian, you don't eat meat? It's kind of throwing off that particular sample. So we have a couple of examples here, right? We have the number of passengers on a RIPTA from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. These are all different buses still running, I guess, at night, and these are the number of people that are taking that bus at this time. By the way, I completely made these up, so I don't know if that's true or not. So we want to find the mean, median, mode for each of these scenarios. If it's a self-selected, buses report how much. So maybe at the end of the night, somebody put out a radio saying, how many people do you have? And only these buses actually responded. Right, so we would want to add up all of these. then divide by the total, which would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 8 plus 11. So 65 divided by 6. 10.8. That'd be the mean average. But maybe these people are, I don't know if that could be possibly biased or not for reporting number of people on a bus. Maybe they're just new at the job and they were anxious to report that they had 11 people. I don't know. Median and mode. Let's put these in order. Right, the lowest number was 8, then 9, 10, 11, 11, 16. The two middle numbers here, if we add those and divide by 2, would be 10.5. And the number that shows up most, 11. Now, in this particular situation, because we're talking about people, this is the only whole number, so you could very easily report 11 people right on the bus, but that could also be a little misleading too, because we notice that some of these buses have far fewer than that. Convenience sample. So this time they're asking us about the last two columns. Remember, rows go across, columns go up and down, so the last two. This is purely random, if you ask me, because it didn't matter where we picked. We just said, all right, let's just take whatever these last two columns say. They're not in any order here, so it's not going to affect, highest to lowest. So add these up. Okay, 81 divided by 6. And we get 13.5. Now that's a very different number from 10.8 that we got up here when the self-selected bus is reported versus the convenience sample. All right, let's keep going here. Median and mode, we need to put these in order here. So let's see. 7, 10, 14, 16, 16, 18. Two middle numbers here. If we add those and divide by 2, would be 15. And the mode, the one that shows up the most, 16. So very different averages from each other. And different situation gives us different averages as well. All right, the last one we're going to look at here. Systematic. Every third entry from left to right, top to bottom. So I have this written out this way, and I want you to pay attention because this is how it's going to be written out for quizzes and tests and homework, right? So every third from left to right, top to bottom. So if we start from the top, we count from the left towards the right. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. This time we have 11. I'm going to write these in order though. So 7, 11, 11, 16, and 19. If we add all of these, we get 64. That's a total of 5. Oops. So 64 divided by 5 is 12.8. Your median, so that's mean, sorry. Median. This is a good situation because there's an odd number here, so the middlemost number would have the same amount on both sides. So you can either count back and forth like this, or if you know the number is 5, halfway through would be 2.5, round up to 3. So our median number here is 11, and then mode is also 11, because 11 showed up the most times. Okay, so now you just saw 3 different ways that you could possibly gather your data right? Your mean, median, and modes. They were self-selected, which again could be biased in most situations. Convenience, depending on how people are grouped, could also possibly be biased. And then finally you have systematic, which was pretty random. We got some different numbers in a lot of situations. So there's one here for you to try. Pause the video and resume when you are ready to try check this out. Also, there's a problem C down here that you're going to have to do afterwards. All right. So let's see. We're talking about the number of kittens born in a litter, and we have all this information to work with. Convenience sample, the bottom row. So here's the bottom row. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 total. So if we add 6 plus 8 plus 7 plus 6 plus 6 plus 9, it's 42. That is 6 total. So we get a mean average of 7 kittens just from that bottom row's average. So out of this whole population, this sample, we have an average of 7 kittens. That's not a terrible a number of kittens being born. That sounds reasonable. Median. All right, we've got to put these all in order. The middle two most numbers are 6 and 7, so halfway through would be 6.5. And then mode, 6 shows up 3 times. Oops. So 6 is your mode. Okay, there's another one here too, so if you wanted to pause the video and do this one real quick before I do B and C out. All right, so problem B says self-selected cats reporting. So I guess these newly mothered cats are reporting how many kittens they had. I don't know how they're going to do that, but they did. Anyways, they have 4, 3, 5, 8, 7, and 5 total in their litters. So if we add those, 3, 4, 5, 5, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, so out of 6 total. 17, 24, 32, 5.3. That's your mean, your median. These are already in order, so the middle two are 5. It's going to just be 5. And mode, also 5. Shows up the most. And then you had C, systematic sample of every 4th entry from left to right. So I'm going to show you how that works. Just make sure you got the right numbers. So from top to bottom, from left to right, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So your numbers are 3, 5, 5, and 6. That's a total of 4 people. 10, 16, 19 divided by 4. 4.75 will round up to 4.8. So that's your mean. Median. Again, 5s are in the middle, right? The middle two most. And mode, that 5 shows up the most as well. So there you go. Hopefully you did okay with all those. I know that this seems like a lot of repeated doing the same thing over and over. The whole point of this is to show you that depending on how you group these, how you gather, right, the title of the lesson could alter your results. And we're going to start to look at one more thing here, which would be the whole idea of representative and bias. So here we're talking about state senators that are voting on an amendment to something. And they decide that you need to decide rather if the situation is representative or biased. So state senators, usually it's either Democrat or Republican. There's usually a few independents, but for the most part we're talking about Democrat, and Republican. And sometimes they call themselves red and blue. Red would be Republican, blue Democrat. Anyways, that's a little bit of background if you didn't know. So here you go. If they were to ask these situations on the voting of an amendment, what could we say? Would it be representative or would it be biased? So in the first question, it says only southern states are selected. I don't know what the bill is on. I really don't know. But just the fact that they're only asking southern states, I would consider that to be somewhat biased, because maybe they're talking about something that never happens in the north. Right? Like we get snow up here, and they don't get very much snow down there. So if it was the other way around, that could be very biased. States that only voted blue last election. Well, again, this could be a political issue that they're voting on, and blue would be, the Democrats altogether. So again, that could be a biased situation. Maybe a reporter asks the first 15 senators that walk out of the building, right? They all get dismissed. They go back to their office real quick. These guys are waiting outside, and the first 15 that walk out, they ask. That could be representative, because you really don't know who's going to walk out from where. Unless maybe like they really divide themselves into different wings, that could possibly be a bias. But if you're just all exiting from the same place, I would say representative. And then finally, a robocall who randomly calls the senators. Right? If you had put all the senators' names into a phone bank and randomly calls them, that would definitely be representative. Oops. I spelled that wrong. Representative. Alright, you get the idea. So here's the last problem for this video. Kept it under 30 minutes for you. Pause the video and try this one out. So you have new flavors of Mountain Dew came out. Decide if the situation is representative or biased. Phone surveys randomly calling people who recently purchased the new flavor. Randomly calling people who recently purchased it, that's probably representative, because we don't know anything about these people, except that they bought it. On the label, it tells people to log into the website and reply. I would probably say that that's also representative. Although it could possibly be biased if the people really, really like it or really, really hate it. But in any sense, that's still kind of random. So I think you could put really either for that. I'd still say representative personally. And finally, cashier asks all the kids that buy it if they want to comment. Again, this is pretty representative because she's asking everybody that's a kid. But then some might also say biased because maybe the kids just like the sugary flavor better than adults do. So I'm going to say it's representative as well. If you have a disagreement, you can put it in the comments and we can discuss it. I don't know. But that's the last of this lesson. So you guys are free to go. See you at the next lesson.